All right, y'all. It is time to shine. It is time to shine. I'm your host, Julian Smartrimple here, King Jewelz. We are locked and loaded, ready for another very special episode of the RTJ podcast show and vidcast series. If this is your first time joining us, I'm King Jewelz, founder of Smart Jewelz Enterprises, and welcome to the RTJ podcast and lifestyle show. We are creating an environment to spread inspiration to young professionals and millennial entrepreneurs who want to learn wisdom on how to shine brighter in their careers or their businesses. And so if you are a millennial, big up to our millennials. If you are a Gen Zer, we also give big up to Gen Z. But even if you're a baby boomer, we still got love for all of our baby boomers that tune in to the podcast and lifestyle show. But if you are interested in being a future guest on one of our episodes coming soon, feel free to click the link that we're dropping in the comment section below so that you can sign our interest form, and our team will comb through your information and see if you align with the mission and the vision of our podcast show. You can listen to all of our previous episodes from season 1 now to season 3. We are in from season 1 to 3, and so you can catch us at Run the Jewels and see the podcast cover art with my face on it, and you can catch up with our episodes, see how we've grown, see how far we've come, and also just track with us to see how our guests and our information and jewels have increased over the last few seasons of our podcast show. And so you can also listen to us exclusively on Wisdom and Twitter Spaces, and also, as I said before, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast or music streaming artist at. Last but not least, we are a live Q&A podcast interview show. And so this is not about me. This is about my guests that I bring on to share jewels of wisdom in their career or their industry, their subject matter expertise that they focus on. And so you can ask any questions. Make sure, of course, they're respectful, but we want to hear from you. And so if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section below to make sure that myself and our guests can navigate our questions. And if you're on Wisdom or Twitter, you know the drill by now. You can ask questions and come onto the stage as you see fit. So those are all of my housekeeping. We're about to start our episode Q&A. Today's title is called How to Increase Profits Using Social Media Ads for Business. So this is going to be a great session for any business owners, entrepreneurs out there, or even if you're wanting to get into the lane of freelancing or consulting as a business owner or entrepreneur, you are in the right place to be today. I actually met this young king literally a couple weeks ago. He and I were both attending a phenomenal vision board party for the new year that was hosted by one of my business partners and associates, Brandy Washington. She's been on the podcast before multiple times in our earlier seasons, but literally we were all visioneering what we want our 2024 vision to look like for this year. And so if you are in that type of mindset already, shout out to those who have already done their vision boards. for the year. But we met. I talked to this king after the event. He was there with one of his good friends that has also been on the podcast for this season. And I told him I have to have him come and talk about his expertise when it comes to social media marketing and also ad placement for social media. And so I'm going to get out the way and let him introduce himself to you all. He goes by Emmanuel the Merchant. And I'm going to get ready to bring on my very special VIP guest, Emmanuel, to the stage. Emmanuel, how you doing today, King?
I'm doing phenomenal. I appreciate the introduction. This new year has been treating me great, and I'm coming in with a bunch of momentum.
Absolutely, we definitely can dig that for the new year. Everybody's locked and loaded, doing some major self work for the beginning of this year. But tell us, Emmanuel, about yourself, King, so that our audience, before we get into the interview, tell us a little bit about your hometown, where you're from, currently where you are streaming with us today, and why is this an important subject for you to talk to our audience about?
So I was raised in overseas, actually. So I'm a military brat. I don't have much of a hometown, but I do claim Villa Rica, Georgia, because that's where the entirety of my entire family is from. It's also where I went to middle school and high school. Now, Villa Rica, Georgia is a small town. It's maybe about 20,000, 22,000 people in it. And this is going to become important later on in the interview when I talk about the reason why I got into ads and why I love them so much. As for where I'm streaming now, I've gone full circle and I've returned to Villa Rica, Georgia to pretty much bring the same information I'm about to give to you all back to the businesses here and the teams that we're building out here. Now, the reason why I'm so aggressive with ads and why I love ads so much is because they take anybody from freelancers or small businesses, large corporations. These digital media ads allow you to like specifically target your ideal consumer, your ideal customer, even though they have never heard of you or your product before. As long as you have an idea of who your audience may be or who your consumer may be, you're able to get in front of them with your product for the most minimum budget that you can afford and get some sort of result. And this helps to level the playing field amongst you, your competition, and it helps for you to scale your business from where it is to where you want it to be. Or if you don't want it to grow that big, it helps you to kind of bring in the fix or the income that you're looking for.
Yeah, man, I love that, King, when it comes to those who are entrepreneurs and those who are wanting to get into business for themselves. Literally, we're all needing to find out the steps and the best practices to use social media, not just the social media side, but even the ads on social media to increase our profits and also to even increase our funnels to have a better connection with our ideal client. And so for those who are listening to us on Wisdom and also on Twitter Spaces, we're just trekking into a live Q&A session with my very special VIP guest today, Emmanuel the Merchant, who is talking to us about how to increase profits using social media ads for business. And so feel free to ask any questions that you may have at this time while we get ready to start our live Q&A. But Emmanuel, like, tell us about your background, King. I know you said you're from Villa Rica. Shout out to those who are from Villa Rica in Georgia. But like, how did you get into social media marketing? Did you just dive into it head first on your own? Did you work for a company or a particular business that had you doing this type of stuff? Like, tell us about your background and how did you get into this space?
So I love this question. I love telling people how I got into social media ads. I had a friend in college. His name was Hokage Hayes. He was an artist. He came to me one day asking for my assistance with his music marketing. So we started off working kind of on the social media side, but at this point, it was around the time where organic social media wasn't doing as much as it had been like 2 years prior to. So I started looking at different ways to kind of get his music out there in front of people who had never been heard of before. In comes Facebook ads. Our first campaign was pretty successful. We ran it for about 30 days. We ended up getting a lot of love from the UK and from Japan. It was at an affordable rate too. I think the total campaign ended up being $90 over about 3 months. So that was kind of amazing to me. So from there, I just started diving headfirst into Facebook ads. At this point, I was only doing Facebook ads. I started trying to figure out just what they were, understand where they were coming from. I actually went as far as trying to change my major to digital marketing, but this was so early in the game that colleges didn't have a digital marketing degree, and nobody really understood what Facebook ads were. So I had to go through what you can consider gurus, but even back then there weren't a lot of teachers who knew digital marketing ads, especially digital marketing ads for entertainers. However, I stumbled across two people back then. Ty Lopez was the first one, and through him, I came across my mentor, who's still my mentor today, Jeremy Haynes, and he is just a phenomenal ad specialist, media buyer, one of the best in the industry. He's worked with Dan Locke, Grant Cardone, and a couple other large names in just business itself. So for me, I took that, I ran with it. I dropped out of college to pursue media buying, which is what we call ads or ad specialists in the marketing space. So I dropped out of college to pursue media buying, and I haven't looked back since. From working with my homeboy in college to working with major names today, major businesses. One of my best campaigns was an ice cream brand about 2 years ago that nobody had heard of much of. We took them from about 800 to 2.2 million in about 7 months using $30,000 on that campaign, which is crazy to even think about that. So as I would transition from music, I would learn different industries such as law, personal branding, the holistic industry, the health industry, real estate, and just seeing how these ads can benefit other people. Now, what's interesting is that as time would go on, the strategies for ads that I use, even though I've gained more strategies, there's still one main strategy that I never stopped using, and it's still like the one that I go for with 80% of my clients, and it's one that I also live by. Ads have taught me to give. Ads have taught me to give before asking for anything in return, especially when you want someone to support your business, make some type of purchase. And don't get it twisted. The whole point of ads is to take people from social media to a platform where you control the data, such as an email list, a customer list, a website. But social media ads will help you do that while helping you monetize these people. So there's so much that we're going to get into. But that's how I got into social media ads. I dropped out of college for it because there wasn't an education course for it. Found my own courses, spent the money on it. It was different because in college you have financial aid. I had scholarships. I had a whole lot of people just paying for college. But when it came to the courses, I had to pay those out of pocket. The more information I wanted, the more I needed. So I ended up spending close to 12 grand on courses for ads. And this was like in the first 2 years, but they were all worth it because since then I've been able to make, oh, I'm not even going to try to say that multiplicity of what type of ROI I've had on that over the last 8 years. But yes, I've been doing ads for 8 years now. So that's since 2022. Oh, I'm sorry. I was 22 when I started. I've been doing ads since about 2013, 2014, 2015, I believe.
Yes, you're a veteran OG in the game, King. You've been putting in work. and definitely holding it down for literally like over 10 years now. And especially you invested in yourself in doing non-traditional education, which is definitely what we always press and push in our guests coming on the show, is that there's always different ways to go about educating yourself to make a living and a career and to work with your passions. And so definitely thank you for telling others, including myself, that there's always another way. But we're gonna let you get a quick commercial break, King, because I want to dive more into your story and literally your mentorship. We always talk a lot about coaching and mentoring on the podcast, and seeing who was mentoring you, how did they play a invaluable impact on where you are today as a success story. And so we're going to give you a quick commercial break while we honor our VIP sponsor. Each episode, we have a VIP sponsor that we highlight, or a VIP affiliate partner that we partner with on the podcast show that is able to make our show a success and partner with us. And so if you are a business owner or entrepreneur that wants to have your podcast, your content, your business, your logo, your brand highlighted on our international podcast show or Smart Jewelz Network for content creators, definitely click the link that's in the comment section. But I'm going to get ready to bring up our VIP sponsor so we can see who it is for today. Let's take a look. Shout out to our affiliate partner for our episode today, which comes from none other than ExpressVPN. If you are someone who's a content creator or a digital nomad, or even if you're someone that works remote and you're looking for a safe and durable and sturdy VPN to make sure that you can do your work from wherever you're located at in the world, check out ExpressVPN today. Click the link in the comment section below in order to get a free 30-day trial just by being one of our Smart Jewel listeners, and you'll be able to access ExpressVPN today. Also, shout out to our VIP partner, StreamYard. This is the platform that we use to stream all of our podcast episodes, and also all the content for our Smart Jewelz Content Creators Network. But you can receive an exclusive $10 off discount price sale package whenever you sign up for one of their packages as a StreamYard user today. And you can stream on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and all of those great sites at the same time just by using StreamYard. And so we use StreamYard for all of our content. And so we always recommend for any of our guests or Smart Jewel listeners to check out StreamYard today. And again, we wanted to highlight our VIP sponsor for our episode, but we're about to get right back to our very special VIP guest, so you can continue to hear from Emmanuel the merchant. If you have any questions for our VIP guests, feel free to ask them in the comment section, or if you're listening on Wisdom or Twitter Spaces, feel free to come on to the stage and join us so you can ask any questions that you may have for Emmanuel. But without further ado, let's get ready to bring Emmanuel back up. Emmanuel, talk to us about mentorship. We talk a lot about mentorship on the show, King, and making sure people know the importance of having a mentor. People know why you need to not try to tough it out and do it on your own. So talk to us about your mentor. What did you do to find this particular mentor? Did someone refer them to you? And also, like, how much of an impact has your mentor played in you being in the field of expertise, social media ads marketing?
Okay. So I'm going to tell you about two of my mentors. I'm going to tell you about my mentor that has guided me through the social media ads marketing. And I'm going to tell you about the mentor who has helped me perfect how I speak about social media ads and to people and communicate in general. So the first one I mentioned is Jeremy Haynes. I ran across Jeremy Haynes courses first in early, I want to say 2015 or 2014. And he was teaching the Venus flytrap. Now, the Venus flytrap is an ad combination that takes people from hearing about your product first to educating them with as much information as they can, to then giving them the call to action to make the purchase or get their email address. And then if it's not successful, there's multiple layers of retargeting, which is targeting people who have shown their interest in a product based off of the actions they take on Facebook. Keep in mind that Facebook has 50,000 data points per person, and we're able to leverage those through ads and Instagram as well now. So Jeremy Haynes, I met him through the course that he was offering, which was at the time extremely affordable. I don't want to say cheap because it wasn't a cheap course, but it was extremely affordable. But as we progressed, as I grew, he also grew. His community grew, the information that he knew grew, and his courses would then go to be like $5,000 to $7,000 per course, and it would become stuff like High Ticket Academy. Now, what Jeremy did well was he was able to break down the psychology of marketing behind these different ads. So it wasn't so much as point to your consumer and put an ad in front of them. It was understand your consumer's pain point. Why would this person be interested in purchasing your product in the first place? How do you educate them on the fact that your product is going to get them the emotional response that they want? Because most buying decisions aren't logical. Nobody makes a logical buying decision. Everybody buys based off emotion. And so what he taught me was how to craft ads and content that we use in ads to appeal to different consumers' emotions. And then he also taught us how many consumers there were per pain point. One consumer might not be you've got about 8 to 9 consumers per product, and you're going to have 8 to 9 reasons per consumer per product. So you're already looking at about 64 different pieces of content just for one consumer, if you're going to do it correctly, if you're going to go all the way out and just make these funnels, right? So we broke down the emotional attachment, pain, bandwagon effect, status, and then he would break down how to find your consumer, how to find what type of ads your competitions were running, such as using Facebook Ads Library. I'm gonna say it again. You can use Facebook Ads Library to look up what type of ads your competition is running. And if your competition isn't running any ads, you definitely need to get on that and get ahead of the game. But I guarantee you, your competition is running ads, and that's why you're behind them. So Jeremy Haynes would teach me the strategies, how to profit, how to scale up successful ads, and how to identify what wasn't working. And it was great because I understood how all of this played together. Now, even though I knew the information it wouldn't matter if I wasn't able to convey that information. So I might know how to turn somebody's, get 3x ROI on somebody's product, get a 5x, 10x ROI on somebody's product. But if I can't convey to them what I'm talking about, then it doesn't matter. If I can't convince them to let me run these ads and let me provide my services for them, then I may as well know nothing. Now, it wasn't until I met this cat about 5 to 6 years ago that I was able to start communicating a lot better. This is Ray Daniels. Ray Daniels is another mentor of mine. When I ran into Ray Daniels, the questions that he would ask me forced me to learn how to speak to people at a third grade level. Ads can get technical. The data that you get from ads can get technical. I get excited looking at numbers because numbers mean this is working or it's not working. There's no opinions when you're doing digital marketing. Either strategy is working or it's not working. You can look at that. You can look at the data. You can make ideas, thoughts as much as you want to. But when you put the stuff into play, the results are going to tell you if you're correct. So everything else has to be, you've got to be able to communicate why something's not working, what needs to change. And even before you get to that point of being able to successfully run a campaign, you've got to convince people to run the campaign. So a lot of times when I first started off, I would use pitch videos and I would use pitch decks, and I was great at using pitch videos. I'd send 7 to 8 minute videos talking to people about what they're doing wrong, or not even what they're doing wrong, how they can improve their social media engagement, their social media monetization using ads. But when it came to the actual calls and the follow-ups and the face-to-face, I wasn't able to communicate those until I ran into Ray Daniel. And there were so many things that he would start telling me that would amount to me being able to speak better to people. And there were times where I would even have to just kind of go and train on my own. You know how, like, if you've ever seen any type of anime show or any cartoon show, there's always a training arc. When it came to communicating with people, I needed a training arc. So I learned how to communicate and read people, which also led back to understanding the marketing and the pain points of consumers. So I got to the point where I can tell who's ready to buy or who I need to convince, especially face to face, based off the teachings that I would get from Ray Daniels. And this helped to power the teaching from Jeremy Haynes. So again, it came down to the marketing. No matter how good I am at ads, if I can't add traditional marketing and communication in there, then all I'm doing is shooting money and putting content in front of people who may not even care about my ads. How do I qualify the why of why this content and product is going to matter to this person who's paying attention? How do I even know they're paying attention? In the strategies that I've learned, the first layer is always about targeting people, right? You're going to choose the most vague audience. It's going to have the largest amount of people who have interests that are in the same field of whatever your product may be. So let's say you're looking at selling a house or Airbnb. Now let's just stick with a house, right? So now you're looking for people who may have gotten a new job. These are based off the data and statistics from Meta. Now you're looking for people who may have gotten a new job, people who may have recently moved, people who may have had kids, college students who may have recently graduated. You're looking at things like that. So when it comes to creating your content and what you're going to use for your ads, what type of message are you going to put in there that appeals to those people? A lot of people are going to go straight for purchase this house instead of saying to the college student, these are the things you should look for when purchasing a house. These are the type of people you should avoid when purchasing a house. You should be educating your consumer before you're asking them to do anything. And with Meta ads, Facebook, Instagram ads, it allows us to put that content in front of people and then make sure that the next content, the next ads you run are only seen by people who have watched 15 seconds or more of that particular video. And then you keep layering those content on top of each other with those type of parameters. You qualify people by excluding people who aren't behaving the way you want to, That way, by the time you get down to the point where you're ready to say, okay, hey, if you're interested in this product, i.e., this house, fill out this form. Facebook has now made it even easier. Facebook itself is a CRM. And what that stands for is customer consumer relations, right? They have this ability to where you're able to get as much consumer information as you can on their platform now for the back end. So another link you're going to want to write down is business.facebook.com. And that'll give you access to the back end, and you'll see a lot of what I'm talking about. But when you run these ads and you're getting the consumer information, it makes it easier now to populate this customer information sheets and these Google spreadsheets, because instead of having to take them off of the platform where you lose about 20% of people anyways, when you take people from social media to your platform, you're now able to keep them on there, get their information, and then download the information from there and put it to whatever CRM that you personally use. But yes, a lot of that comes from understanding the why of your consumer. Why do they want to purchase this? And that is something that Ray Daniels has hammered into me since the day I met him. Understand the why, and you're going to get a lot further. In fact, there was a story. I was doing work with an artist through him, 1111, and we were talking about his social media. He calls me in there, and he's like, "Well, what's wrong? What do you think is wrong with the social media?" I give him my opinion, my expert opinion on it. And, he kind of sits there and he gets his answer. And I didn't understand how he was getting his answer, because I'm looking at it like, well, this is what's wrong. But I never said why it wasn't working. But he was able to take what I said and put it into a why. And he was able to create what he created from there was the most engagement that we had gotten on that profile since we had started working the campaign. So, like I said, between Jeremy Haynes and Ray Daniels, both in two different industries, one in digital marketing and one in entertainment, which I guess is still considered can be looked at as marketing. Well, between those two, I've become a beast just listening to both of their advices.
Yeah, nah, you hit it on the head, King. And the reason why it's important to sow into a mentor, especially if you are trying to elevate in your industry or your specialized expertise. And so for those who are listening on Wisdom, if you have any questions for my very special guest, Emmanuel, the merchant, who's talking all things about social media ads and how to increase your profits, feel free to come on to the stage before we get ready to close out later on. But I know I wanted to hear even more about some of the pitfalls that a potential entrepreneur or even a business owner may run into if they are trying to learn how to do ads on their own versus like hiring you or someone else as a professional like ads specialist or ads manager. And like, what are your thoughts on individuals who choose to try to learn on their own versus soliciting the services of someone that's a manager or an ads or social media specialist?
I think that when they try to learn on their own, that's the biggest problem. If you're going to try to learn ads in 2024, you want to hire a consultant first. You don't even have to get the services, but hire a consultant. I think getting a consultant will be cheaper than paying for courses, and you'll have like this mentorship going on. But there are two free resources that I will tell anyone who's looking to get into ads to look at. It's going to be Facebook Blueprint. And even though it gives you everything about Facebook, it's also going to give you everything about Facebook and Instagram ads. And then it's going to be, I believe, Google Share. But it's free Google Ads courses as well. Google offers a lot of free courses on their platform. So look at those. But also, when you look at those, you're going to want to hire a consultant, because there's so much that you have to learn, and learning all of that on your own now is just going to be extremely overwhelming, especially when you don't know the right questions to ask. Now, you look at learning that versus having somebody run the ads for you. it's going to be based off, what type of time constraint you're on. If you're looking to start profiting, within these next 30 days, you're going to want to hire somebody else. Because if you've never run ads, or if you've only been, familiar with pressing the boost button, or when you get on Google, you follow the Google advice. Don't follow Google's advice on running Google's ads. You're going to use a lot of money that you may not even get an ROI on. Google is great at getting you to choose options that are going to spend money. The boost button, if your audience isn't set up for Instagram or Facebook's boost, then you're wasting money, because all boost does is target people like your audience. If you have never set there, especially if your audience is like your family, your cousins, your friends from high school or middle school, elementary school, and you're hitting that boost button, your product isn't going out to anybody. You have to understand that what is it they said in the Bible? I think it was like, is it Exodus? I forget which verse it is. But they say that you cannot be a prophet in your hometown. So when you're running ads, your entire goal is to make sure that your product is seen by people other than your mom, your uncle, your aunties, your cousins, your friends from high school. So hitting that boost button is going to be a waste of money. When you bring on experts, you're going to make your money. That's the only reason you should ever invest in marketing, is if you're trying to make more money than what you're making now. If you've been using referrals since the life of your business, that's great, but referrals can't run 24/7. If I'm running ads, I don't run ads that aren't without a call to action at less than $100 a day, right? So whatever product I'm selling has to be more than $100 in order for me to break even or make a profit. So if I'm running ads at $100 a day, and this is based off my statistics, somebody else's might be different, but that means that we're already getting in front of more than about 14,000 people every day. And that's on the low end. We're getting in front of more than 14,000 people every day. You can't talk one-to-one 14,000 people every day. I don't care if you stay up all 24 hours. You're not going to be able to talk one-to-one 14,000 people. And you're also not going to be able to talk one-to-one 14,000 people who are definitely trying to find your product. So when you're running ads, I know a lot of people, it's scary because they've gotten burned by ads before. They've gotten burned by people who have run ads for them before. So whenever you're hiring anybody, you always want to get what their ad plan is. And if they don't say anything about pixels, retargeting, if they don't show you lead forms, instant forms, and if they can't bring up their results or bring up their show you their strategy, then you want to avoid them. But you always want to get 2 or 3 different opinions as well. Shop around when it comes to ad specialists. We all have a different strategy, and there are some who are better in other industries than they are in general industries. So the scariest part about doing ads by yourself is you're not sure when you're wrong. But even when you're right, you're leaving a lot on the table. There's one client, I won't mention their name, they were running 100K in ads per month by themselves. Now, when you're spending $100,000, you're going to get results. You're, $100,000 a month in ads, you're going to get some sort of result. When I went in there and I started kind of looking at what they were doing, I'm like, okay, they weren't using any pixels, they weren't using any data measurement tools. So all I had to do was tweak a few things. They went from doubling what they were spending to almost 6xing. And that was in the first month and a half of me just tweaking what they were doing. And this isn't a big industry that they were targeting or that they're in. It's the esoteric industry. So their audience was already really small. And when I say really small, I mean like in the 4 to 5 million range on Facebook. But 4 to 5 million people is a lot of opportunities. If you can talk to 4 to 5 million people in a week, you need to let me know something. 1-to-1. If you can talk to 45 million or 4 to 5 million people 1-to-1 in a week, you need to let me know something. But just by tweaking what he was doing, just a few simple tweaks as well. They weren't complicated. He was able to, he was able to increase what he was bringing in. Now, for me, that's just a special case of when doing it by yourself works out because you're throwing $100,000 at the wall. That's like when in entertainment, you're throwing $10 million in marketing at the wall. So whatever happens works, but you can't ever tell what's working. When I go into somebody who's spending 100K on an account, I'm able to sit there and like, okay, you can actually do the same revenue of what you're doing with 10K. So imagine if you do it right and then you scale up to 100K. And for those of you who kind of like, okay, you're using some pretty big numbers right now, you can get these same results with $5 to $10 a day. These strategies, they're scalable strategies. Ads are $5 to $10 a day. And if you're just looking to engage your audience, then $1 a day will be great if you're able to if you already have a set audience. I'll give you some numbers that I abide by. If it's less than 1 million people that I'm targeting, I will go with less than $20 a day. If I'm looking at 500K, then I'm staying at $5 a day. And you can really get away with $5 to $10 a day for 1 million people plus too. But whenever I start selling a product, then I'm going to go up to $100 if my product is over $100. If my product is something like $5, $9, then I'm going to stay at $20 a day. So when you do ads by yourself, you don't have the experience to sit there and understand the numbers that make sense. You don't even have the community to reach out to. And that's the best part about taking courses, is you get a community. So now instead of it just being one person who's experienced, you've got about 600 years total of digital marketing experience in a Telegram app and a Facebook community. All you got to do is sit there and ask questions. And that's the best part about anything online now. Everything has a niche. And when you're involved with somebody's niche, you're family. Nobody likes being in person, except on the weekends when you go out and get air and let your feet touch the ground for like 2 to 4 hours. But I'm talking about consumer-wise. Consumers online love their niche and they love their teams. When you're able to break into that niche and become the expert by providing education first and then more information, and then you ask for a return, i.e. call to action, i.e. sign up for my email where I talk about Georgia Bulldogs once a week, or I sell Georgia Bulldog merch, whatever it may be, that niche. Or maybe I just collect pins or knives. When you become the expert, you are able to leverage what you know. Google Ads, and I know we're getting late into it, but I'll give you guys kind of some information about how I look at every platform. Google Ads is for people who know what they're looking for, but they don't know where to find it. YouTube is for branding purposes. I don't ever run YouTube ads with the expectation of getting a profit from them. I might get some customers from there, but I always run YouTube ads specifically for getting my product in front of people and not for getting purchases. YouTube is like my education platform. Facebook and Google ad, that's where I build my community at. And my communities are always going to be the ones who pay the most. From there, I'm able to take those communities from Facebook and Instagram, get their emails or their contact information, and put them in my personal database. And the best part about having a personal database is that every ad platform has the ability or gives you the ability to upload the emails that you acquired. And that helps you find even more consumers at at less of a cost than it was going to cost you originally. The more you run ads, the more familiar that your ad account is going to get used to it. The ad algorithm, it is a living thing. It's AI. This is AI that's been in the work for about 9, 10 years at the least on Facebook and Instagram. And I may have started Facebook ads 8 years ago, but when I was working at Waffle House, Waffle House. When I was working at Waffle House almost 10 to 11 years ago. I had a friend from high school come up to the Waffle House and he starts talking about Facebook ads and how he got his how he started using them for his father's HVAC company. Matthew Segura was his name. I didn't understand what was going on at the time, and I didn't even remember that conversation till I was about maybe 3 or 4 years into ads. But as it was written, you understand? So I'll tell you that ads are for people who are trying to get in front of new consumers, but they're also for people who are able to educate those new consumers about why they need this product. And don't get it twisted. There's a strategy where you can shoot out call to action ads, get that profit right off the bat. But you got to know what you're doing. I'm telling you the strategies I just told you guys about because that's the one that I use about 80% of the time, especially when I'm the new guy on the block. If my client's the new guy on the block, then he's got to get his credit up. She's got to get their credit up. They've got to get their credit up. And then from there, you just bring in the rest of them. From a pyramid standpoint, only 5% of people in any industry are ready to buy. That means there's 95% of people who need to be educated on the product. And as you go further down, it breaks into about 4 different categories. But right under the 5%, there are 2 categories that equal about 70%. And about 70% of those people are people who are willing to buy if they know more information about the product. And that's where you come in. Your ads get in front of them, you educate them about their pain points, you get them feeling nice, good, and all that, trustworthy. And don't use this power for evil. Don't use this in terms of manipulation. Use marketing and ads to better people's lives. Your product should be bettering people's lives anyways. And that's kind of one of my whole things about being a digital advertiser. Is I used to be afraid because once I understood the power I had with these, I was like, okay, I had to really sit there and be like, these are the industries I want to work in. Because no matter what industry I work in, I'm going to get results and the people are going to see the content. So I want to make sure that the content and the products that I'm pushing are going to help people and be an assistant to their lives, especially when everything's an emotional buy.
Yeah, nah, man, you dropping a ton of jewels right there, King, when it comes to educating us on there's only that 5% that are going to be willing to purchase after they see your product or see your brand and your marketing pushed out there into the open market. And you're hitting it right on the head, the nail on the head, as they say with the OGs. But I know, King, we are winding down with the interview session for today. And so what we always allow the guests to leave as a final jewel of wisdom, because we've been talking about so many questions even that I was going to ask you. You talked about the specific sites that you should be branding your ads on. You talked about the return on the investment of how much you should be putting out there if you're wanting to go big, or even if you're able to only start small. What would be a final jewel that you would want to leave with the audience, King, before we let you go for today's session?
Never stop learning your industry. Every industry is changing. Figure out how to use AI and automation to scale whatever you're doing. Period.
Yeah, that's keeping it all the way real when it comes to AI. I know we ain't even get to dive too much into AI when it comes to what your thoughts are with the future of AI in marketing. So I know we'll probably have to try to get you back for a part 2 on that, so you can educate even myself on what are your forecasts and thoughts on AI in the 2024 and beyond century for AI in marketing. And so we definitely are interested in hearing that subject too, King. But we always allow the guests to let people know how they can stay in contact with you, King. And so let people know the ways they can contact you if they want to solicit your services, if they want to support you in your business. What are some ways they can stay in touch with you?
The best way to stay in touch with me is going to be on Instagram at Emmanuel the Merchant or on LinkedIn at Emmanuel Mincy, where you can schedule on both sites. You can schedule a consultation with me or just send me a DM with any questions you may have. And I will answer and respond. Like I said, teaching about this is what I do.
Absolutely. So y'all heard Emmanuel say you could definitely follow him on IG and on LinkedIn at Emmanuel the Merchant. And so you could definitely stay in contact with Emmanuel on IG and LinkedIn. He's very active on those platforms. And you need to make sure that you follow up with him after today, especially if you are looking to increase your profit margins for this year. But Emmanuel, we always say a quick blessing and a quick prayer over any of our guests when they come on the show. We thank you for your time and taking time out of your busy schedule, King, to run the Jewelz of wisdom with us on how to increase our profits and also increase our presence using social media ads for our business. But if you don't mind, I'm going to say a quick prayer over you, King, and then let you enjoy the rest of your day, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Father, yeah, I just want to thank you for Emmanuel. I thank you for his passion. I thank you for his purpose. And most importantly, I thank you for his willingness to show others how they too can increase their value, increase their profits, and even just increase their influence that they give to their clients and customers. We thank you for his time that he shared with us today and all the jewels of wisdom that he dropped. I pray that someone can grab hold of information and wisdom in order to do something with it, in order to make their dreams a reality, and even to increase their success margins for this year and beyond. We thank you for all the lives that he's touched, and even those that he may not know, people that look up to him, and even that he's mentoring just from sharing his talents and his gifts with all of us throughout this time today. I love you, Father. I praise you, and I pray that you will bless Emmanuel and his business 100-fold for what he has sown to our audience today. May he receive 100-fold in return on his investment. And it's in Yeshua Mashiach's name, the Messiah, I pray. Amen. Amen. We appreciate you coming on, King. We appreciate you coming on, King, to run the Jewelz with us. We're definitely going to be following up soon, but you enjoy the rest of your week, King, and thank you again for taking time out of your schedule to run the Jewelz with us today.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys inviting me. Blessings and love over all of y'all.
All right, man. Be safe. Have a great rest of the week, bro. Peace. All right, y'all. I'm going to do a quick wrap up for School Talk. You already heard from my very special guest, Emmanuel Merchant, dropping a ton of jewels of wisdom on how to increase your profits using digital marketing ads. Y'all know we talked to a lot of people about the importance of marketing. We talked to people who have their own marketing agencies. We talked to people who solely focus on the importance of Facebook ads. And you just heard from Emmanuel today. He's a jack of all trades. He's able to speak specifically about the science behind the ads and where you need to really throw your focus and your funds, and also even your direction of hiring an expert, a specialist when it comes to social media ad marketing. And so final jewels for thought: pay a coach, pay a guide, pay a mentor. They will save you so much more heartache and pain, and also save you a lot of money on the back end if you are able to go on the front end. It's all about finding the right type of coach. Don't look for the social media gurus or the YouTube gurus that have a ton of ads out there. Like Emmanuel said, you got to do your checks and balances and also follow up and do your due diligence to make sure that this is someone that aligns with what you're looking to receive, and not just looking at someone who just has a course that cannot basically give you resources and next steps. And so those are just some final jewels for thought. Make sure you hire someone who is a professional, a specialist, a mentor, a coach, or a guide. It will save you so much time on the back end. But take a look at what we are doing this season. We do have a lot in store for the rest of this year. But if you need smart media essentials, you can feel free to go to www.smartjewelz.enterprises.org, where our team that powers the RTJ podcast and our Smart Jewelz network provides podcast show creation services. If you're looking to do an online virtual conference, if you're a business or a live stream church that is needing to have technical assistance behind the scenes, if you're a virtual classroom educator, or if you're someone that does virtual classes or workshops, webinars, you name it, customized branding, we have media essentials that you need to take your business to the next level. And so check us out again at www.smartjewelzenterprises.org. Also, you can support some of our merchandise. We just launched last year some of our new Heal King and Heal Queen, along with our Create, Pray, and Shine collection, and also our Heal and Prosper collection. And so you could support us by purchasing one of our pieces of merchandise this season by also going to www.smartjewelzenterprises.org to support our brand. And last but not least, you can listen to us on all podcast streaming platforms and search for literally the cover art that you see for the Run the Jewels podcast on the right side of me right here. And you'll be able to listen to all of our episodes from season 1 all the way now to season 3. And so definitely track with us. We have a ton in store this year for what we are doing international. We're going to international territories fully, working as digital nomads and also working as digital podcast producers. And so you can track with us. If you feel led to sow a seed, we thank you for all those that have sown seeds already in this season. You can cash out a donation to us at SMART, SMARTJEWELZ on Cash App, or you can click the link that we have in the comment section to be one of our monthly Patreon subscribers to support us on our mission in going international to different countries and interviewing guests in countries from the Caribbean to South America to Asia, Africa. Eventually, we're going to trek to Europe, but we're interviewing a ton of guests all over the world. Last but not least, you can support us by purchasing a piece of our merchandise by going to www.smartjewelzenterprises.org. Those are all of my final jewels for thought. You can follow me on IG along with our business page at King Jewelz, JEWELZ Speaks, or you can go to smartjewelzenterprises.org and follow also our business page on Facebook and also on IG at Smart Jewelz Enterprises. I'll see you all next episode. Thank you again for listening in. You will also be able to track with Emmanuel at Emmanuel the Merchant on Instagram. And you could also get started on your own very podcast today by going to www.smartjewelzenterprises.org to sign up for a free discovery session with one of our associates and also of our team members. So those are all of my jewels for thought. Stay hydrated, stay safe, and have a happy and blessed season ahead, and also shine bright like the bright diamond jewel that you've been created to be, because someone needs to feel and sense the light that is within you in order to have permission to shine themselves. I'll see y'all next episode. Stay blessed, stay hydrated. Peace.